What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be discussing why Nintendo's next Direct is going to be very important. So, let's dive into it, shall we? Okay, first thing I gotta mention is when could we see the Direct? And we have a pretty good guess. January or February. Now, it's mostly through January, and Nintendo Directs never happen in January, so I doubt we'll see a Direct in January. But February is looking like a great spot for a Direct. Judging by what we know, leaks, stuff like that, we are very likely to get a Direct in early February. So, first 2 weeks of February, we see this Direct, likely, and exciting, because that's not too far away. So, early February is when I think we should see this Direct. But what I think Nintendo really needs to do is really make sure their second Direct is big as well. And their second Direct could be in, like, early fall, late summer. So, their second Direct, very important as well. But, of course, it'll kind of depend on how this Direct goes. Next thing I gotta mention is Zelda's anniversary. And there's a decent chance that Zelda's anniversary will be getting a very large section of the Direct dedicated to it. I mean, it makes sense, and I think that would work really well. And I would actually really like them to do this. I think they should do it like they did the last Direct in September, where they should have it where the first half of the Direct is about the anniversary. That sounds like a great idea. They did it with Mario's anniversary. It was Mario's 40th for the first 30 minutes. Last 30 minutes was General Nintendo. I would love it if they did that with this Direct. Now, I do think it's kind of unlikely to get a full chunk like Mario got, but I definitely do think there will be a decent chunk. But I do think it's unlikely it will be as big as Mario's, because in reality, we're probably not getting a ton for Zelda's anniversary. We're probably getting 2 games, I'd say. Probably the Ocarina of Time remake and just another game, maybe like a Four Swords remake. And I think this would be a really good layout for the Direct, how most Directs go. Big game at the beginning, big game at the end, and then like medium game in the middle. Just saying, think it'd be a really good idea if that's the order this Direct went. We got a large chunk of Zelda at the beginning, they reveal an Ocarina of Time remake, everyone's excited, and then middle of the Direct comes, and it's like, oh, what's it gonna be? And I actually think they should go on to something that we already know about in this part, because we don't know much about some of the stuff we know that exists, like Splatoon Raiders or Fire Emblem. So that's what I think they might have in the middle. Honestly, I don't think they should. They should just reveal as many big games as possible, but I do think that is likely for the middle. And then the end of it will be like the big game of 2026, which I made a whole video talking about what the big game could be, but the big game could be something like Mario, new 3D Mario. It could be just like a really big game. It could be Luigi's Mansion 4, which is actually really likely. So we need the big game at the end like that. So that sounds like a great order for a Direct in my opinion. I actually think it's pretty likely. I don't really know what the big game will be at the end, but, you know, will have to be big. The middle part, they're probably going to do, like, they're going to give us, like, a ton of information on a game we know is coming, but don't know much about. And then, the beginning of the Direct will be mainly Zelda. Now, I hope it's, like, a decent chunk of Zelda, but it's probably going to be smaller, especially if you compare it to the Mario's 40th. And then, the middle part, I don't really think they should do just give us more info on a game we already know about. I mean, they definitely should, but, I mean, they need to just give us as many new big games as possible, because right now, 2026 is not looking that good, first-party Nintendo-wise. Right now, the Switch 2 is in kind of a weird position, where it's not doing, like, that bad right now, but it's looking like it will start to do bad. And it actually did really bad over the holidays. It didn't even do as well as the PS5, which is a 5-year-old console. I mean, this is Nintendo's new console. They need people flocking out, especially its first holiday season, and we really need a big game for the console. Mario Kart World, yeah, it's a really big game, but besides that, we don't really have one. Donkey Kong Bonanza should be it, but Donkey Kong is just not a big enough IP. I mean, it's giant, but not compared to Mario or Zelda or Pokemon. So Donkey Kong Bonanza, should be a good, stable game, but people just aren't buying it because they think Donkey Kong. I'm not a Donkey Kong fan. I won't buy it. I'm not a Donkey Kong fan. I still bought it though because I thought it'd be amazing. It was really good, and so we really just need a big game. Here's the thing though, Nintendo realizes that this themselves. Nintendo literally said in some statement that the reason they don't think they did well in the holidays was because of not having a big Western game. So they realize they don't really have one, and they really need one. They really, really need a Western game that's really big. Besides for Mario Kart World, if you are not a Mario Kart World fan, they really don't have one, and the only way to really get this game would be a Zelda or Mario. Zelda, Mario, they're the biggest franchises of Nintendo. So franchise-wise, Zelda or Mario. But other games that would technically work is a Smash Bros, Animal Crossing, and Smash Bros and Animal Crossing would work because Smash Bros. Everyone likes Smash Bros, very popular. And then Animal Crossing, it's a giant franchise, mainly because of New Horizons, but now you have all those New Horizons players wanting a new experience. So if they pulled out an Animal Crossing, that'd be great. But I have to say that we are almost guaranteed not to get Animal Crossing for at least 1 or 2 years. So it's kind of off the table. And the reason for that is because of the very, very recent, just a few days ago from when I made this video, we got a Switch 2 edition for New Horizons. And I'm not a big fan of the Switch 2 editions, but because of the Switch 2 edition, it means we're probably not going to see another Animal Crossing for a really long time. Because it's hey, we can't put Animal Crossing work into this, and not the next game. So that's why I think Switch 2 editions aren't that good, because they hold back from a new game. And we better not get Smash Bros. Switch 2 edition. I do not want that. Okay, I just want new Smash Bros. Please. But big game-wise, I made a whole other video on that you should check out if you want me to go more in depth on that. But yeah, this Direct is very important for Nintendo. And the thing is, for consoles, usually the first year does great, and then second year is slower, because most companies use their all their big stuff the first year to get excitement for the console, and then it slows down because they just used all their good stuff. So next year it does kind of slow down. That's very common, but since Nintendo didn't have that good of a first year, it's a little bit eh. And I say they didn't have a good first year, but I am aware, that Mario Kart World and the Switch 2 sold extremely well. It's insane. The Switch 2 has sold so many copies, but not in the holiday season. It's already dying down, and it needs to keep traction. And it's dying down too rapidly. And because of the rapidness, it needs to stop. We need to get a big game that gets a giant chunk of players coming to it. And that needs to be a Zelda or Mario. Those are the main things that would do it. Or other games that would do it would be, as I said, Smash Bros. Or Animal Crossing. A Splatoon 4 would also work, but I believe that's very unlikely because of Splatoon Raiders coming out this year. So, yeah, we just really need a big Western game, and Nintendo really needs to try and keep the traction. You're probably wondering what big games we will be seeing, and I'm kind of wondering that too. I made a whole video on that. I do recommend you should check it out if you are curious just about possible large game. But while we're here, Zelda. We're going to see so much Zelda, I bet. And there's a 50% chance Mario 3D this year. 3D Mario this year, just cut right in half. 50% chance. We've waited so long, it's you can't say higher than a 50 anymore. Because we've been saying higher than a 50 for years, and it's been wrong. So, Mario 3D is just very much 50% chance. Smash Bros. Unlikely this year, because Sakurai worked on Kirby Air Riders, which is very recent. Animal Crossing's unlikely because the Switch 2 edition for New Horizons came out this year. But Zelda, very guaranteed. I also need to mention Pokemon. We will not see, any Pokemon in this Direct, except maybe Pokemon Poketopia. We've seen Pokemon Poketopia in Directs before. I think Nintendo/Pokemon likes to put Pokemon Poketopia in the main Directs to save room in the Pokemon days. So we might see Pokemon Poketopia, but besides that, not much Pokemon. Because when Pokemon Day comes, which, reasonably soon, we will most definitely be getting Generation 10. I also think there's a chance we see Black and White remakes in that. We'll probably hear more Pokemon Poketopia. The next Pokemon Day will be extremely massive. So that will also help a ton with this console. But in this video, we'll mainly talk about the Direct. So, if you want to hear about more games, again, recommend checking out my other video. But Luigi's Mansion 4 is also very likely this year. Very high. And let's not forget about the Yoshi game and Tomodachi Life and all the other games that we know are coming out this year. Because they're not terrible, and I honestly think people are sleeping on the games we already know about, especially Pokemon Poketopia. I highly think people should be really excited for Pokemon Poketopia. Just saying. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and the next Direct, I don't just want it to be amazing, it needs to be amazing. And if you watched the whole video and clearly like my content, so could you consider subscribing and leaving a like? Helps out a ton, so peace out.